All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Versatility Podcast. This is episode, not me forgetting, 22 of the Versatility Podcast. We're moving. This is like 4 or 5 straight episodes, besides the 1 week break that I had because I was moving in. But we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. So, as you see, I have guest today. However, I think this is this way. Lena Jackson. What's up? What's up, homie?
What's good with you?
I'm good. What's good with you
Always.
though?
Yeah, I'm good. Good to see you and glad to be here.
It's glad to see you here. Always.
Appreciate you.
But this is also my coworker. Coworker and good friend and all that type of stuff. You want to introduce yourself just a little bit more and stuff like that?
Yeah, hey y'all. My name is Lena J. We both go to Morgan State, but we also work at WEAA, radio personality, producer, artist, writer, the whole nine. So we'll get into it. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, she's a very multifaceted person. Definitely, we have a lot of the same interests, I would say, in general. So yeah. But as y'all know, start off the podcast. You already know what we always do first. We go over the top news or really just important news things, just to get it started. Because as you all know, I am a journalist still. And I like to give my opinion and have my friends give their opinions on some of the biggest news or just some very interesting news that I feel like a lot of people should know. As you know, in the past, we've covered the Iranian Palestinian war thing. And it's very important to me, especially on my platform, to talk about these things that are not easy to talk to about for people who normally don't watch the news or aren't really heavily involved. Because if I can explain it to y'all, then I feel like it's easier for y'all to explain it to other people and why it impacts you today, which is a very important thing. And that's really my job as a journalist to do. So, So today there was an NBC news article, which really everybody's writing about it right now. You probably have heard of it by now, but it's called the Trump's Mar-A-Largo estate, which is in like Florida, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think, yeah. Basically, it was found to have like codes proclaimed. It was accused of having like official documents and things of that nature, and they said, the FBI said that there was like nuclear code documents and things of that nature that was there. So the FBI raided his home and got said documents. But it goes a little bit deeper than that. But first of all, he is potentially can be charged with espionage act violations, obstruction of justice, and destroying federal government records. And here is why. And it all starts with the fact that in this NBC News article, Trump is classified as a pack rat. Now, do you know what a pack rat is, Lena?
I think so, but give it to me. What is it officially?
So essentially, a pack rat is somebody who just kind of throws stuff everywhere, but they hoard a lot of stuff at the same time. He's not organized.
Yeah.
That's one of the main issues with this. So when I first heard of the story, I'm like, oh, he probably just stole the documents, yada, yada, yada. He did, but at the same time, I don't think he actually tried to. It's more of he's unorganized. So, and this is what I mean. So first of all, he gets other people to move documents for him. He doesn't exactly go through them one by one all the time. He just kind of just throws them somewhere. Hey, we'll go over it later, yada, yada, yada. And then during his presidency, which this is the thing that made me laugh, he'd rip up classified documents in half, like literally just tear them in half after he was done with them. And people would get the pieces out of the trash and tape them back together. Right. That's crazy. That's crazy. This was in the NBC News article. I can actually put the link in the description. Hopefully I remember to do so. But he was like so messy when he ended up packing to leave the office because, as you all know, he didn't want to leave the office. So because he didn't want to leave the office, he did not properly plan to leave the office. And he had literally nothing packed when he had like 2 weeks left to leave. He is a president. He has documents on documents on documents. He has clothes. He has a whole bunch. He's a grown man. Grown men who have a whole bunch of stuff, they need more than 2 weeks to pack stuff. All right. Like, I'm just, especially with somebody who is as busy and business oriented as Trump. So they literally just threw documents together and then they packed them and left. Right. So here's where it gets a little more okay. So the FBI met with Trump several times to obtain documents back. They got droves of boxes both times that they got documents from him. And even one time when I think the FBI came like the second time, he offered the FBI drinks and like he offered him like a Coke or something like that. Apparently that's what one of the sources said that was there. And like, he was very, here, come take the documents, yada, yada, yada. Because after the first time, he was like, we have nothing. After the second time, they also was like, we have nothing left. Then we get to this third time. So basically, there was still more documents and stuff. The FBI was like, listen, we're missing some stuff there. Like, what the heck is going on? So even though Trump's people, again, they insisted, there was nothing left. Right. So this led to the warrant where the FBI claimed he had nuclear documents and more, whatever. We don't specifically know what it is yet that it is because it hasn't been announced yet. That's why this is still something that's being reported on as we speak. Trump also, this is also another funny thing. He would also keep surveillance video and photos, evidence, and letters from other like world leaders to essentially like brag and gloat about it. I'm not kidding. I'm so dead ass. Like it's literally, again, hilarious. And he would just also, this is another thing he did. He will also say something is declassified and then act as if it was, but there's a whole process to declassify documents, which some of those documents he claims are quote unquote declassified, but there's a whole process you have to go through in order to declassify documents. You can't just say, oh, this is declassified now, I'm taking this with me. That's basically what he did. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all that's a lot of information, but like, just first initial thoughts, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's absurd, but I'm not surprised. I mean, Trump is crazy. He's literally crazy. What president incites an insurrection on the Capitol and just like acts like they didn't? Like, it's not surprising at all, but it's just crazy. It's weird.
It's insane. It's okay to say like, dude, like this man. It's like, I want to say when he got like 2 years into his presidency, that's when I was just like, I'm just gonna laugh. Like I'm just leave it alone.
Yeah, everybody was like crying when he first got like inducted into office, and then it just became comical. I mean, you're a president. How do you do away with important documentation that you're gonna need? Like, you just, sir.
What's the other sir? like, yo, like, what is wrong with you, bro? Like,
ducking.
It just doesn't make sense, but it makes sense because it's him. Like that's what it is. So like literally. Right. The FBI, not the FBI, but like other House officials, like when they first I don't remember the dude's name. It was in the article though. He was like, when he got there, he was like, bro, you can't just throw documents wherever you want. And he was like, he literally would be like, yo, I'm seeing people literally piece documents together from the trash can. This is not how you like, yo.
It makes me think of that episode of That's So Raven when Corey did her like science report. Oh no, Corey's best friend did her science report. Do you remember that episode?
I don't know for sure. It's been
okay. And then she didn't finish out the bet, and so they trashed it. And then she was taping it together because she was about to fail the class. That's what he looks like. They shredded that joint. That's Trump.
This man is crazy, and like the worst part about it is that other Republicans and stuff, they're calling for the FBI to like announce the warrant or like say why you raided his house, because they didn't know it was about nuclear codes and stuff like that at first. Now we do know that it's about the documents and stuff like that, but like they wanted the specifics. And so the thing is, of course, when you have a warrant, the FBI has to give the people who they're invading the warrant as well. But apparently Trump's people were like, yo, we have it, but like because of necessary things, legal stuff, we can't announce it. So everybody, Republicans, was like, I'm calling on Joe Biden to
not the voice change.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is. I'm calling on Joe Biden to announce what the warrant was for the FBI, yada, 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 which I don't even think that's Joe Biden. I think that was the FBI. I think the FBI was waiting to announce the warrant. Again, we can't, I feel like Republicans, a lot of the times, specifically Republicans, they literally are like, yo, I need you to do this right now. Man. I'm talking about Trump-backed Republicans. I'm talking about those more than anything. I think this is also an issue with just legal stuff in general. People are like, we need this right now, yada, yada, yada. Like, even when it comes to black issues, black problems, when a guy is shot, a black person is shot by a white person. Y'all don't realize, like, there are legal things that they have to go through first before they can release body cam footage, before they can put these people in trial, before they can sentence people. So for us saying, release it, the 9 times out of 10, they do want to release it, or at least somebody's fighting to release it, but it can't be released right away because of certain things. So for Republicans and all those other people, even us, we have to be like, okay, release it, but at the same time, there's a process that has to happen, which sucks because it's like, yo, just release the freaking stuff. Like what's taking so long?
Democracy is too slow.
Yeah, I think that was a line in Hamilton, I think.
And J. Cole. I thought you'd catch that.
Yes, that was I was like, I know what that's from, but
yeah.
But yeah, so that's like that whole debacle and that problem. But the worst part about it is the fact that the FBI was being slandered by Trump and, you know, Trump-backed people and everything. And it resulted in, did you hear about the man who attacked the Cincinnati FBI firm? You didn't hear about that?
No.
So basically, a man attacked the Cincinnati FBI firm. He walked in with a firearm, from what I remember. He got away, got in a shootout at his car because he drove away, got in a shootout with his car, and eventually he died. This man also was at January 6th as well. And the craziest thing about it, yeah, I know, right? Just put your hands up. Like, what? And the FBI had him on like their watch list. Like, they were watching him because he was posting a lot of stuff on Truth Social, which those of you who don't know, Truth Social is Trump's, you know, social media app where he speaks the quote unquote truth. Yeah, okay. And you know, this is crazy. This is literally crazy. And the fact that this keeps happening and like just, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
It is it's insane. And like one of the things that pops up in my head, a lot of people have been talking about, how does this affect 2024? Like, do you think that Trump is still going to be able to run in 2024 and actually be a factor?
No. We're going to speak that into existence. No.
I don't know. It depends, because I mean, he's got this going. He got this investigation now. He has the investigation with January 6th stuff. He also have other investigations of fraud and so much stuff.
He's
but
corrupt.
But yet he continually finds a way to be involved.
Because his little minions. If you have a support group that's that strong, you're never going to fail.
That's what I mean. So unless he's in jail, he's going to be able to run again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't. We're better than this now.
Are we?
Okay.
Are we really? There's literally a whole section like listen. This is how democracy is split up now. It's Democrats, Independents, Republicans, and Trump-backed Republicans.
Like, those are a whole different category.
That's a whole nother category now, all because of Trump and his followers, and people are literally like just turning a blind eye to the bad things he does and acts like he is like the end all be all. This is crazy.
People, okay, I heard this opinion that like you can vote for somebody, but you don't necessarily align with all of their beliefs and policies and all the things I want to implement in the country. But my thing is like there's certain things I can't overlook. So like a blatantly racist president, I can't overlook that.
I think it's deeper than that. A blatant like
Bigot, misogynist, everything. Like,
do you remember I remember on Snapchat in the 2020 election, not 2020, 2016 election, there was this woman who they were asking who are you gonna vote for, Hillary or Trump? And this woman literally was like, I'd rather have a racist person instead of a liar and a cheater and a yada yada yada. You're talking about Trump versus Hillary. And it was like, isn't Trump all of them?
don't he fit the bill too?
Yeah, it was like, yo, like y'all talk, like, I ain't gonna lie, Trump, genius marketer, because the way he did Hillary, like literally the only bad thing about Hillary, the emails, and that literally messed her up. Because of that emails, that literally messed her up. And he tried to do the same thing with Joe Biden, to him being senile and old and things of that nature. Didn't work this time. Granted, whoever he goes against next might be Joe Biden again. I don't know. I kind of would rather have somebody else besides Joe or Trump. That's my personal opinion. Either way, as long as I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I just want you to get the freaking job done at this point. That's what I say. I do lean more to a Democratic because, you know, they just align with my views more. But it's like, yo, can we just get somebody decent?
Right. Just do the job and don't be crazy.
But nobody even does the job. That's the problem.
Do the job.
That's the problem. But moving on, did you know that the leading makers of assault rifles collected over $1 billion in revenue over the past decade?
And it's insane.
Yeah.
And their marketing is directly towards children.
What?
Yes.
Wait, for real?
Yes.
You like to expand on that a little bit?
It's just in an article I read. I mean, they market their I think it's more so the illegal like firearms, but they market towards children.
Huh. I didn't know that specifically. But when we say children, though, I'm guessing that's teenagers.
Yeah.
Dang. Everybody playing Call of Duty. That's very interesting. But I mean, the reason why I brought up this part is that like they're doing all this, and mass shootings are at astronomical levels. Like this is the highest they've ever been, ever. Mm-hmm. And we thought it was bad like the last like year or two. No, this is like ridiculous right now. Like there are over 300 mass shootings back in June. That was 2 months ago. It's August. Yep. I'm assuming we probably are close to 400 by now. I couldn't find the direct stat for it, but like if we were at 300 in June and we've seen more things happen since then, like July 4th, the person who literally shot during the July 4th parade thing in Chicago or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And on the rooftop, yeah.
I mean, dude shot parades, dude. Like children, literally there was a kid just on a baby literally just lying there dead on the street. Like, bro, like y'all, like why are you doing this? Like for what? Wait, what's your goal? Like honestly, like a lot of these mass shootings, I'm like, what is your goal? Mm-hmm. I don't get it. And they want to say mental health and stuff like that. Well, what about like other people with mental health? Like what about Black people? What about some other people with mental health and stuff like that, being stuck in the system and things of that nature? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that Black people are only people who have mental health issues. I'm not saying white people are only people either, but like it's like there's got to be a balance. And either way, it's got to stop. Assault rifles, it's getting ridiculous. It really is. Yep. What are some ways you think that we could potentially, I don't know, curb it or something? Like it just, I don't know.
I mean, I had this debate with someone about gun legislation, and I just feel like the United States versus foreign countries, we don't have enough kind of things you have to jump over in order to get and obtain a firearm. So the background checks, and I don't know if it's Japan, you have to say why you want it. And like, I think when you use it, you have to say what you used it for. Like, there's a lot of checkpoints when it comes to these things. We don't have any of that. It's just kind of free will. And so, I mean, I understand the right to want to protect yourself, especially since people are getting crazier. So it's like, I don't want to leave myself out here just like arms wide open. But I mean, I don't know. There's too many kids dying. It's tragic. It's disgusting. I don't know. And then to go back to what you were talking about, sorry, that was,
Okay.
but mental health, I think a lot of people deal with mental health, right? And so I think we do need to put more money into free therapy or,
Mm.
at a discount or something, or getting people those resources that they need. But I think there's a lot of white kids who just go do these things and blame it on mental health, right? And I mean, it's just like their alibi, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's solving. I think it's a lot of people who are angry and think that somebody else owes them something. I don't know.
I don't know either, and that's the problem, is the fact that we can't exactly pinpoint it to anything. I'm not gonna lie. If I play games and things of that nature, I will admit to an extent, video games and things of that nature, they do play a part. But I think it's because some people can't differentiate between reality and the game.
Yeah.
In the game, you can die and respawn. In reality, you die and then you die.
Hmm.
Like, that's it. There's nothing else after that. Granted, we're talking in the podcast last time. I don't remember if it was off air or not, but either way, in my last podcast, we talked a lot about Christianity, things of that nature with Delante, and it was like death is life and things of that nature. But in this case, still, death is still death, meaning you're not on this world anymore. You cannot take life. You do not have the authority to take life. That is not your job. That is nobody's job. Nobody should be doing it in the first place. The only place that war, I mean, that like death and all that stuff is just a regular thing is war. In this country specifically, we are not in a physical war with anyone. There should not be a physical war with anybody. Like this, that's the problem. You feel like you're fighting these battles. Like you have, like, if going back to the Trump thing too, like they're talking about, we have our weapons, we are ready to fight. Don't worry. That's what they said one time. They was like, we have guns too. What the hell does that mean? We have guns too. Like, what does that mean? You finna like what do you mean by that? Like you
And
like
military style rifles at that, not just some regular stuff.
yeah, like for what? What do you need that for? Like, honestly, what do you need an assault rifle for in the United States of America?
Hmm.
Like, and what makes it worse is that, I mean, another J. Cole thing, brackets that make guns that circulate the country, then they wind up in my hood making bloody clothes, hit a young boy, got
Snotty
a snotty
nose.
nose. like, come on, now his body froze. Like, come on, like he's just talking about that type of stuff. Like, it's not just the people buying the guns. It's literally the government or some
Implementing
fraction
them into the
implanting
community.
them.
Yes.
So it's all
Same
starts
thing
at
with drugs.
it all starts at the top and works its way down. Drugs were not a bad issue in the Black
Yep.
community until like the 70s and the 80s, especially the 80s, because of the crack cocaine. And then don't forget about the freaking
War on
opioids.
drugs.
They screwed us over with the opioids, but like that's a whole nother thing. Like, it's not just the government though, it's the people, and it's the government, and it's the people that's in between that's controlling all the strings, and we don't know who those people are.
Yeah.
We know they're out there though. We don't know. I don't know. I ain't gonna say Illuminati or anything of that nature, but there's something else going on, and there's something fundamentally wrong with this country, and to an extent, it starts with the divide between my skin color, your skin color, and the lighter of the light is of skin complexions. That's where the root base of this stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you look throughout history, the Europeans did a lot of people dirty.
Yep.
And a lot of those techniques and those like just mentalities have been spread down more and more and more. And it's even easier to cover stuff up now than it was back then. And it's all just one big complete problem. I'm not gonna say issue, because issues can't be solved, in my opinion. This is a problem, and it's got to be stopped.
I mean, we can't rework and fix a system that's broken and that was built on immoral principles. We have to rebuild. We have to tear it down and start over.
You
So.
see, I feel like the US is like the one country that never had like a full on revolution. Like we got away from the Britons and stuff, which a lot of them were originally Britons, but they separated away.
Mm-hmm.
But when they left Europe, they came here, they stole the land from the Native Americans. The Native Americans never revolted, never had like a full on revolution. The black people who came here, we've had a few revolutions, but we have not had like a full on takeover revolution. I feel like many other countries have had that. Many other continents, the countries in the continents have had that. I feel like that's never happened. The people who were originally oppressed never oppressed back the people. We tried to do it the quote unquote right way. And we've made gradual progress, but we see the same problems at the. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I do, but back to kind of like the original problem we were talking about is, like you said, I feel like more restrictions and things that nature needs to happen. Have you heard about that? I don't remember what country it was, but they literally at one point they just took all the guns away from everybody, and they like restarted. Have you heard about that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, there was a country who did it. I don't remember who off the top of my head, but I mean, how do you think that process could potentially work?
I think people would go crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Those Trump Republicans, they would go crazy because they would harp on the idea of my rights, my rights, my right to own, and people keep like using the Constitution as like a viable resource when that's so outdated. You had a bunch of white men sit there and corroborate this document that we're still living by today. Times have changed.
Do we have the oldest constitution? One of them.
One of them.
We got to. And that's crazy because we're the youngest one. Well, yeah, like the youngest country. And I feel like we change a lot, but we don't change at the same time.
No.
How do we change and not change?
I feel like America is like, okay, say America is a woman, okay? America dyes her hair, or America gets lashes, or like paints her nails, but America doesn't do the inside healing America needs therapy, okay? That's how I look at
On that note,
it.
I'll leave that right there. I think that is the perfect yeah, clean off your hands. Clean off your hands. That's the perfect way to describe America.
Yep.
Yeah, she. Everybody calls it she anyway. She. Right? I feel like why does everybody always call anatomy object she? So they could take care of it more?
I don't know.
Can't be a guy?
Feminine energy.
It can't be a guy ever? Because like guys never get taken care of? That's what it is?
There's male and female, so it's all encompassing.
We're gonna leave that alone.
All right.
But yeah, all right, cool. Right. So moving on to more lighter, funner, or whatever stuff. I do want to talk about you, Lena J, like the great, the one and only, right?
Right.
So as she mentioned previously, she is the radio host for a show called the Morgan News Hour.
Indeed.
I think it's pretty successful, if you say so. If I say so myself.
The ratings look like it.
The ratings doing pretty good. You know, she made her own little stand, got a little commercial for it and things of that nature. Like, yeah, and you started the job back in June, if I'm not mistaken. This is at the WEAA radio station, 88.9 FM, the voice of the community.
You know it.
But so how did this opportunity come about? And you know, just how did you get to that point of starting to do this?
So I want to start off by saying that I like to have everything in my life kind of be organic and just if it's copacetic, if it works out, if it makes sense, then I go for it. And so being and doing radio and being at WEAA was completely organic and authentic to its core. So meeting our news director um, in a weird situation. I mean, I just happened to be up there, and I was voicing something, and he kind of heard my voice and was like, "Oh, are you interested in sports?" And I mean, y'all know me, I'm a hop on opportunity. So I was like, yeah, of course. So start off doing roundtables, and then I mean the opportunity just kind of presented itself. But I mean, it really at its base is just being open and talking, and people talk a lot about networking and things, but I mean it's really just about, we always think about networking as a linear thing. So if we're here, we need to network up, right? But you want to network like we're networking right now. You network side to side, you network below,
Mm-hmm.
you network up, because you never know who those people are. And so just being open to talking to everybody, and just the opportunities will come. You just need to get yourself and your mind right first off, because when those opportunities come, then you'll be ready for them and you can play your cards 100% right. So yeah.
Yeah. So then you they kind of just asked you, right, to kind of
Yeah.
just do it, right?
Yeah.
Because the spy opened up
Hmm.
because the other dude ended up doing the other show, which I was in turn producing for. That's neither here or there. And so did you ever like just think that you would be hosting a show? I know you just talked about being organic
Hmm.
and things of that nature, but did you ever have that idea in your head, and were you always open to that idea?
I think I was always open to it, but I never expected it to happen the way that it did. And then, especially doing that show for a month and a half, and then getting a new position to do a morning show. So you can also catch me on mornings with Mikkel like half the time. So like 3 days a week I'll be there. But and just being able to talk about my passions really. So on the Morgan News Hour, we talk about hard news and soft news, but on my Kel show, we get to talk about music, and I get to really just free flow, and I get to control the board and like do the playlist. Like that's my whole jam. So the music, the vibes, the groove, the conversation, like, I mean, it was always an opportunity I was open to, and I'm so grateful to be in that position, but I never expected it to happen that way. So it's just really being open to your blessings because they're coming.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Hey, hallelujah.
Jesus. You know, you got it. It's not Juelz if, do it. Oh, that's what I forgot to do in the
I was
beginning
gonna
of the
say
show.
you didn't do your
I
little
didn't do the sing.
jingle.
That's how you know I'm tired. That's how
Give it
you
to
know.
us.
Huh?
Give it to us.
Oh. Juelz. You know what
All
it
right.
is. But yeah, so like how has that journey really have been for you? Because you do a lot. Like you really do a lot. And granted, you've done this throughout the summer. So it's about to be the school year. So like how has that journey been? And then you preparing for what that could look like going into the school year for you.
Hmm. It's been a complete blessing. I love my team. I love everybody that I work with. News can be depressing. It can be
Yes.
sad.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of
Yes.
the time, especially us, like the things we were just talking about. But I mean, I think I've met and I've worked with a lot of people who have kind of switched and changed my perspective on news. So really, some of the sad stories or some of the things that you might not want to talk about, I think of them more as like tributes in a way. So like, and
Mm.
just kind of giving, I don't know, just kind of giving a piece of commemorating the story really. So I might not know the person I'm talking about, or I might not know the family, but just kind of giving that legacy to the people and giving this, like, this is a real person who went through a real thing, and we're commemorating their
Mm.
life through it, because it can be really depressing, it can be really sad. But I love talking about our community in the city of Baltimore. I love it. There's a lot going on. You're always on your toes, but
It's always something going
through there's always something. There's always something. But just I don't know. I love it. And I'm naturally a workaholic, so I'm always running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Like I'm always everywhere.
on. Yeah.
So the school year should be interesting. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna take a lot of balance. But I mean, ever since high school, I've really been working on my time management. And I think that's one of the key points in life that you want to get good at and used to, is like altering your time and knowing what is valuable to put your energy into and what's not. And really just manifesting and coordinating your time effectively, and just, knowing what's worth it and what's not. So just, evaluate what you're putting your time into and go from there.
No, that's real. That's real. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. That's really real. Because the reason why I asked her about going into the school year is because she has a very rare case with her. She is a double major. I didn't mention it earlier because I thought it would be a surprise. As you can see, she's into music. She actually is a singer as well.
Yeah.
And can actually play. What instruments can you play again?
Piano, my guitar is over there. uh, I played violin growing up,
Nice.
and we're gonna get into drums real soon. So
Drums?
yeah, I love drums, love percussion. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Technically, I could play piano, not extremely well. I have my acoustic guitar that I've been practicing just about every day for the last like 2 months, three
Make sure
months.
y'all tap into his lives, because he be going live and he be on that guitar. So
Not you be checking me out every now and
what?
then.
I get the notifications. All right.
Oh.
Oh,
But and then I can actually play a little bit of drums and bongos.
okay.
Just a little bit. Again, I'm beginners for a lot of stuff. I say piano, I used to be closer to intermediate.
Hmm.
Guitar, I'm just learning to play chords and stuff. But again,
Yeah.
this isn't about me. I'm just connecting.
Two artists vibing. We're
Two
good.
artists vibing,
Hmm.
So um you are a double major transfer student.
Yes.
That is a lot. I just want like that is really a lot. And one of the biggest things that it is for you is that being when you're a transfer student, on top of being a double major, you have to wait for credits to transfer. You have to, jeez, and like your majors literally have nothing in common in the slightest. Like literally, like they do from an entertainment standpoint, but overall they literally have nothing in common. So
Yeah.
can you tell us what those two majors are, and a little bit of what those two majors are?
So I am a music major with a concentration in vocal performance, and I'm a communications major with a concentration in multi-platform production.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That jeez, that right there, that is a lot. You are a transfer student. We did just say that and things of that nature. How was that process of coming to Morgan and being a transfer student? You came from a community college, right? Or
Mhm.
yeah. So how is that
Right.
process like transferring the credits and on top of that getting into the Morgan experience? But it's a little different because you come in as a junior essentially.
Hmm. So it was very interesting. Not the brightest experience, but I mean, I made it through. Transferring is something I don't think people harp on enough. It's really hard, because when you're looking at institution to institution, they might have they might not accept all your credits. When you're looking at the course description, it might not fit the requirements for your next institution, and so they might not accept it. They might, even the credit numbers, they might not add up. I went through that a lot. This one might be 2 credits at this school, but it is 1 credit at that school, so you have to take it over
Really?
again. Yeah.
Oh, I
So
didn't.
it's Yeah. So you really have to, I mean, your biggest advocate for yourself is yourself, right? Nobody's going to
Always.
fight as harder than you're going to for your own life and for your goals and your dreams. So I really had to be my biggest advocate. And I mean, we all know how Morgan's things go. I mean, you got to kind of get in there and don't let anybody bully you out of anything or convince you to give up or anything. So just, I mean, really advocating for myself is the biggest word I can think of. But coming from a community college to a university as a transfer was kind of strange. I mean, I'm blessed to have met the people I know now, but it's like you come in,
Hey.
you you come in as a junior, and everybody kind of started off their journey together. right? And so you're kind of just coming in like, hey guys, and they're like, who are you? What do you want? So, I mean, you kind of figure out where you fit in. And I mean, I think my focus for my goals has always kind of taken over. So I was never too concerned with like making hella friends, but it is something that you think about. I mean, nobody wants to go through all their college years and just kind of be by themselves, but you figure it out. Like once, I mean, honestly, just being an open book and going there and being open to your experience, because your experience is what you make it and it's your own, right? So, I mean, just go there and go wherever you're going and just be open to knowing that you're coming into something as someone who's just coming in, right? But I mean, it'll happen for you. Just be open to the experience.
Yeah, it's like a mid-season trade.
Right.
That's literally what being a transfer is. At
Yeah.
least that's the best like comparison I could think of, because it's like everybody's already acclimated to the season,
Mm-hmm.
yada yada yada. We have our continuity, and then we like we got to shake things up. So let's check. Let's get a quick little trade in real quick, or not even a trade. Let's get like a mid-season signing because somebody got bought out. I think that would be the better one, because it's not that you're exchanging; you're just adding someone new.
Right.
Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's that's probably the best way to describe it a lot of the times. And I'm assuming that's probably how you felt, because you had to kind of just figure it out. And you came in during 2020, right?
So I came in online.
Yeah, that doesn't help
No.
at all. Spring 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's funny because that's when I changed my major to
Interesting.
multimedia journalism, I think, right? No? Wait, spring 2020 or fall 2020 then. See, now I'm messing up.
Wait, I came in February. So yeah, spring.
So it's spring 2020?
Yeah.
So you came in online. We were still we were still in person at that time then.
Were you?
Yes, we were. In spring 2020, unless you came in 2021.
Nah.
Okay. Either way, she came.
Either way, I was online.
And she
I
was
was right
definitely,
here.
yeah, you was definitely online.
Yeah.
Because either way, a month later the pandemic happened, so you was online regardless. Either way, a lot of that time was spent online, yada yada yada. So then my question is, at what moment did you choose that you wanted to be a double major in both music and multi-platform production?
Good question. Really, once I got to Morgan, I realized that I'm a person who has a lot of goals. So I wear many hats, and there's a lot of things I want to accomplish in this life. And so I think you close yourself off when you only give yourself one path to do something, right? So if you only are looking to okay, let's give this analogy. If you're only looking to get into a house through the front door, if the front door is locked, what you gonna do, right? So you gotta think about the windows, the side doors, everything, right? So if you can find an
Chimney.
alternative, right? So if you if you can find an alternative path to your goals, then do that, right? And I'm not a person who believes in plan Bs, because I strictly believe that they take your goal and your eyes off of plan A, right? So I find a way to integrate what I'm doing with what I love, right? So I don't see communications and music as like two different things in my head, right? So I'm a person who likes to be involved in every aspect of what I'm doing, because when you don't know, then you relinquish control to someone else, right? So if I have a vision but I can't execute it, then the vision is in someone else's hands. And that I'm not too cool with sometimes, right? So I'm a musician. If I want to shoot a music video, I can do that because I'm a production major, right? So I know I can operate the camera. I know the shots I want. I know the storyboard. I'm good on it, right? I can edit it myself. And I produce the song, so I know exactly where the message is coming from. So it's just really essentially it's finding multiple ways to get to one place, and then also controlling the narrative and knowing and being involved in every aspect of what you're doing.
Yeah. Um, that's how I've always thought about like a lot of my own personal things, because
Yeah.
as I've talked about many times in this podcast, I used to be creative writing secondary education. And then spring of 2021 is when I changed my major to multimedia journalism. And then I had a minor in entrepreneurship at first, but then I took the minor off because I was like, bro, I want to graduate. So,
no, for real.
and I was like, with entrepreneurship, I know a whole bunch of entrepreneurs, a lot of stuff like that was in the classes. I was like, no, I was just like, no, I'm not doing all that right now. So I see, even when I was creative writing secondary education, I saw that as, hey, I'm working on my creative mind and working on being more literate and things of that nature, because it'll help me with music and acting and things of that nature, and finding like the root causes of writing and just being creative, right? And because my main goal has always been to be an entertainer, but majority of the time a singer / entertainer. That is what I define myself as, because I'm a singer first. Like everybody knows, I sing everywhere I go, no matter where I am.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And it's not like I do it when people are around, and I do it when people aren't around. Everybody knows by now, I'm not faking it. Like I'm doing it because I love it. And I do journalism, and I switched to journalism, multimedia journalism, because I was like, listen, what's the best way for me to get into the entertainment industry while still like having like a concrete job that I can have right out the gate? Because everybody needs journalists, especially hard news journalists and things of that nature. Yeah. I don't want to do that specifically, but it's a thing that I can do. You got to do what you got to do. I mean, journalists don't get paid much, but that's not there or there. But like, just like, how can I maximize all of my skills in one major, multimedia? You get to learn a little bit about audio and all that type of stuff as well. I'm telling you, doing this podcast really made my life that much easier to learn how to do a whole bunch of other things. Because when they told me to work in audition, I was like, oh, bet, I didn't know how to use that. Like it was that easy for me to use that and then use other things. Like it made my life easier. And because like multimedia journalism, like literally, like we do a lot of hard news and communications building and stuff, because they are a little old school. Now, there are a lot of bit old school, but I get to do a little bit of everything. I get to voice stuff. I get to write. I get to record stuff. Like I get to do like a mixture of a lot of different things, which in turn, like Lena said, for her music, it helps her. Because even though she's multi-platform production, she's not supposed to be writing like that. She still has written stories and things of that nature. She's voiced stories. She hosts a friggin' radio show like that. Like she does a multitude of different things. And that's one thing you can say about college. A lot of times, if they're short-staffed, or if they see you like doing something, or they think you can potentially be good at something, they're going to give you the opportunity to do so if they see the possibilities. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happened for her. That's what's continually happening for me as well. And that's why we both chose our majors that we like for us. Granted, double majoring is crazy still. And that's legitimately crazy. And I commend you for doing that even today, especially music. Music program.
People don't talk about how hard a music degree
is. Rigorous. It's rigorous. It's rigorous.
And the retention rate is not very high. No, people leave all the time because it's so taxing. Not just the workload, because there are a lot of 1-credit courses that a lot of people don't talk about. So the progression rate, it's tacking up credits to graduate, it can be slow in that aspect, but also just the mental capacity that it takes to like really break down what you thought you knew. That was my journey, like breaking down what I thought I knew, rebuilding my whole instrument to someone else's standards, right? And like really learning and the techniques and everything, just reimagining everything. So it's crazy. And not to mention theory and ear training and all that other stuff, but
Jesus, that's a lot. Jesus, like for real, because I think one of the things why I like admire the way that you go about it is like those are two vastly different majors. So how is it kind of balancing those two? Because they literally have nothing in common from a straight away point of view. Granted, you talked about how it is in the long run, but like in the short run, you like, yo, I have to do this homework and this is a lot. But this homework for the other thing, that's also, I would say multi-platform production isn't hard, but it's tedious. I would say the same thing about journalism as well, and strategic communications. it's not hard, but it's tedious. It's tedious work that you have to literally want to do, because 9 out of 10, you're not even gonna get paid a whole bunch doing it, especially if it's journalism. Granted, if it's social media like a SCOM and or if it's multi-platform production, you get paid a little bit more, but still a lot of things that you do are tedious. They take a lot of time. And music, everybody knows music takes a long time. Nobody 9 out of 10 is making a song like lickety split all the time. It may happen every now and then, but there's a lot of things that go into it. So how is that kind of that balance? You talked about time management too. Yeah.
I think that you good. You got me.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that I had a really good foundation in community college, and so it kind of set me on the right path when I got to uni. So like I got to focus on honing my skills, so being better at piano, really understanding theory, really learning, and I really took that time to develop good relationships with my professors. And I was there all day. I mean, granted, when I was in community college, I was also working a job part time. So I was a waitress and I was doing music. So when I wasn't at school, I was going to my job. When I wasn't at my job, I was going to school, and I was staying after hours, and I was always there, right? I'm always in somebody's office asking questions, inquiring about things, trying to get better, right? So it really just takes like spending the extra time. As you said, production isn't hard, but it's very time consuming. And one thing we all don't have enough time. I know like we look at the years and everything and we're like, oh, it's dragging. You look up, it's gonna be 2024. Like years fly by. And so one thing you can never get enough of is time, right? And so really just picking and choosing your battles and learning like it really just boils down to time management, but you gotta figure out like what battles to fight for and what not to. So like, and just I mean, once you get better at your craft, you get faster at your craft, right? So like if you really take the time to learn something right the first time, it'll be a breeze the next time, you know? So just learning your craft, time management, and just really taking the time to buckle down and learn your stuff.
I love that. You just gotta take the time.
You gotta
That's
do
gonna
it.
be a interesting balance when this school year starts for you. But
Yeah.
I believe in you. I know you're going to make the best of what you have.
Always.
And you've always shown that you get the job done. So I don't exactly have any worries for that. I have worries about you not getting any rest.
Oh, I've cried after classes. I mean, you really just take that time. If you gotta cry, girl, cry. You know, if you gotta, it's really about listening to what's going on up here and here. I mean, if, and it's about rewarding yourself. I mean, reward and discipline go hand in hand. You gotta find a balance between the two. Balance is really important. Sometimes, like, when I go into a new school year, this might sound cliche, but like, I try to find a word that I like to sit on and pray on for the semester. So like balance was one of mine. So I put a lot of time into my crafts and what I wanted to get better on and what I was lacking. And you forget about self, right? So finding time to really listen to yourself. Sundays are really important to me. Like self-care, no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reading, I mean, praying, everything. So just it's really listening to yourself. And if I'm not right here, nothing else is going to be right, right? So listen to yourself, listen to your body, put the time in, but also give yourself some grace and some leniency.
Yeah. And that's definitely for sure. I definitely used the same thing my dad told me a while ago. He was like, listen, bro. Well, listen, son, type shit. But Sundays are for chilling. Like they're for the Sabbath. I'm reading a Bible devotional right now, and it's like, yo, if God can rest, what makes you think you can't?
Yeah.
Like if he rests, then by default you're able to rest, especially because Jesus died on the cross for our sins, of course, if you're a
Mm-hmm.
Christian and things of that nature. But I think in general, no matter what religion you are, the body literally cannot function without rest.
Right.
And you have to stop working to rest, and you have to rest so you can work. There's two different
Mm-hmm.
things. All right. Yeah, it's two totally different things because we have a lot of backwards mindset when it comes to those type of things, and we got to get out of that. Yeah, we really do have to get out of that. And as you can see, y'all might think that I do record these on Sundays. These right now, these podcasts, try to get on the weekends so I get to y'all on Monday. Y'all hearing us on Monday, but I don't really think of this as much as work. I love doing these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. I just love talking to people as always. And I love having people hear me talk and be able to hear y'all feedback back because as everybody knows by now, I am not afraid of criticism.
And that's such, we don't talk about that enough because you really have to be like, you have to break yourself down to not be afraid of criticism. I mean, people are harsh, right?
All the time.
But yes, and people are cruel, but it's like, there's a balance between like doing something to your standards and trying to appease and to please everybody else, right? So, I mean, you got to be open to learning, but also like that inner that inner sense and that inner intuition that you have, follow it. But what you were saying earlier, I always think of the scripture, be anxious for nothing, right? Because we put so much time, and I know I get really anxious sometimes and really stressed out. But things always happen how they're supposed to, and you have to let them happen, right?
Amen.
So you put all this stress and all this time into freaking out about something, and in the end, what were you worried for? Because God's got you, right? So chill out.
Can I get an amen? Yeah. But no, that's serious. But moving on to our last topic of the day, Lena J spitting the facts every day. You already know what they say. You see, I'm rhyming. You see, every
Okay.
single day.
Okay.
We want to talk a little about my music, about blah 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 blah. We're gonna talk a little bit about music. And so me personally, for Lena, I really love the dualistic approach that you have to music, because although I'm never going to be a music major, every time I look at it, I'm just like, yo, that's just too much. It's too much like strictness, as everybody sees, even though I am meticulous in certain ways when it comes to my craft and things that I like to do. I hate being super strict about stuff. I have to be free. I have to have a little bit of strictness, but strictness enough so I can still have leeway to be free.
Yeah.
I need that. I commend you for doing all that stuff. Granted, I ain't gonna lie, I do need to train my ear more and learn a little bit more about theory and things of that nature. We'll get to it. But overall, my music intelligence is there. And for you, I really appreciate the fact that you can kind of combine that strictness along with the freeness that you have as well. Like she's a huge Chris Brown fan. Like that's like if you would look at her like from the general perspective, you would be like, really? Especially because she does classical music and things of that nature. But no, she's a huge Chris Brown fan. It's like what? And like I love how you love just a multitude of different music and things of that nature. And I feel like there are so many people who really do love it, like such a diverse catalog of music. You love the older music, but you still have a very fond appreciation and like for current music. So, and you have an old soul. You do. You're auntie, and it's crazy
And
because
my cane, my
yeah,
walker.
yeah, you're all good. And then my friends literally call me like a 70-year-old man. So it's whatever at this point. But so I wanted to know who are some of like your favorite artists that combine both old and new school, just off the top of your head, or you can think about it a little more as well. But to start off, kind of one for me is a bit like Anderson .Paak or Anderson .Paak, however you say it.
I always said pack, but
Pack or Pac, whatever. Either way, the man's good.
yeah.
The man is good, and it's crazy that I didn't like him at first, but the more I listened to him, shout out to Nate. He was on the podcast like 3-4 episodes ago. After I listened to him more and like really like got into it, I was like, this man is a genius. It's like he is a musical genius, and the man is like really diverse in so many ways. He has such an old school voice, but his music is new school, but at the same time it's old school, and it's such a vibe. And I love vibey stuff. Like I just love stuff that I can listen to at almost any point of the day. And Anderson .Paak, he fits that vibe. Grant, golly, I'm about to listen to some Anderson .Paak after this. But like, is like he's really, I love his music, and it's that he's definitely one of those people that I would recommend to have a mixture of old and new. What about you?
Well, that's a great one to start off with.
Yeah.
Just watching his tiny desk. I mean, drumming and singing at the same time, and he's multifaceted. Just he's insane. So love Anderson .Paak. A couple ones off the top of my head. Definitely Lucky Day. Um, I love the soul of that man. I mean, I love like Louisiana and New Orleans culture in itself, and with him coming from New Orleans, he just brings that vibe with him. But just the soul of that man. Love you too much. Concentrate. Everything. Um,
Over.
over.
Oh, I literally have that on repeat. It's one of my favorite songs. Cause I'm trying to closer, and then that feeling's over, and then thinking like over and over, and keep calling me back. I love that song.
And the idea that like sampling Music Soul Child on that was phenomenal. Um, and I love the way that he does samples. So like when he covered Tony Braxton's "Love Should Have Brought You Home," Babyface was on the record, right? And we all know Babyface and Tony Braxton's collaborations in the '90s. I mean, even to this day. So like it's the way of keeping the integrity of the song, but also putting his own flow on it. I love it. But also like I'm a big West Coast person too. So like D Smoke or Sir
E Smoke
or
is definitely
yeah,
one of those old new school people.
or like JID, like just I mean vibes.
So you want to say vibes? Me, I love vibes, man. Vibes are like they're just they're vibes. Like there's literally no other way to put it. It's like it's just music that everybody can just like. Like you may not want to play it all the time. Like I feel like for me, Cole is the definition of a vibe, and that's why he is one of my favorite artists. Oh,
Sure.
another one, Chance the Rapper, could kind of be that mixture, but he's a little bit new with. Oh, he's weird. Like he's the definition of a weird person because
Mm.
he has this nuance to him, but this like raspy retrospective type of thing he has going on. I feel like that's definitely another person. Oh,
I was
her,
gonna say we didn't mention any women. I love her.
her.
Amazing live. I just love someone who knows their instrument
You
and
see her
knows.
live? You saw her live?
Yeah, sorry.
No, I saw her live too. I talked about it on here before. I saw her back in November. I ain't gonna lie. I want to go again, but right now she's on world tour with Coldplay.
Coldplay, yeah.
I'm trying to see my baby again. But what other women though? I'm trying to think off the top.
I mean, we talk about vibes. I love someone who can just put me in this like I don't have to think too much. So Joyce Rice, if you don't listen to Joyce Rice, hop on her.
I gotta listen to her.
Um, Cleo Soul, of course.
Write some notes down.
Yeah, I need to pull up my playlist. Just there's so many ladies setting the tone. Kiana Lede,
Ooh, she
um,
is fire. She's supposed to be
fire.
dropping something new, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
When?
Well, I think she's doing one more performance in LA for Kiki, and then I think she's setting sail on some new music. So, hmm
We love to see it.
we love to see it.
What about dang. Oh, Tim's.
Don't get me started.
Tim's is different.
Don't get me started. I love an Afro beat. I love house music. I love all of it. So, I mean, Iced Tea on repeat.
I I mean, I Will Wait for You is clearly that one that everybody has on repeat right now. But
But that's the problem. People call it "I Will Wait for You." It's
it's
called
not the actual
Higher.
song. That's not the song.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Called Higher.
higher. Yeah. I actually kind of learned how to play that song on guitar. I need to play that again. I've been practicing some other ones, but that's definitely one that a lot of people need to realize that that's where the sample is from. I'm assuming that I'm not gonna lie, she probably redid it. She probably redid the sample when they asked for it, because usually they're not gonna put somebody's name on the sample and stuff when they do it. but because I think it's because it was her voice, like, and it was recent. That's probably why they did it. I ain't gonna lie, she probably made bread off that. She made
Probably.
bread. But
Yeah, on a
she
future album, yeah.
that's why they had to put her name in it.
Yeah.
But definitely Tim's. I love her aesthetic. I love
Hmm.
everything about her. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Let's get one more good one.
Oh, I got a couple. Alex Isley is my girl. Bryson Tiller. Um, Vibes. Just, I
Just
mean,
vibes.
dreamy music, really. India Shawn. Uh,
India Sean. I have to check that one out. I don't know her.
yep, I'm putting you on game right now.
Yeah, you supposed to been to me this playlist over like 8 months ago, but it's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
we won't
cool.
talk about it. Miguel. I mean, there's
Oh,
just,
Miguel's a really good one. That's a really good one. Who's old but new. That's a good one right there.
yeah, that's a really
And
good mix.
he kind of fits into the next thing in the last question that I kind of have. What? Ooh, geez, excuse me. What are your biggest must listens for 90s and 2000s babies?
Mm,
Because like people were like, you instantly hear it and you get taken back like right away. And I know one of them is Chris Brown for you. I know that already off rip. I don't even
mhm,
need to, we don't even have to go through that right now. I mean, you
yeah.
can if you want, like you can explain why you like them so much, but whatever. But like just more people that bring you back to that time. And everybody is like, oh yeah, no. Yeah, you had to listen to them back then.
Mm. So we're talking about artists that kind of give you nostalgia.
That give you that nostalgia of that time when they originally posted that music.
Oh, like their first album.
Not even first, but just anything that they made in the 90s and 2000s.
Okay. Yeah, CB is definitely on the list. Hmm. I was really into groups, like, so I think of like B2K, I think of Next, I think of, I mean, Maxwell, I think of Faith Evans, I think of Donny
Maxwell.
Hathaway. I think of just, there's
Keisha
so
Cole.
many. Keisha Cole.
Keisha Cole.
She's a, yeah.
T-Pain.
I mean, buy you a drink.
Wait. Ooh wee. And then I'm gonna take you home with me. That's
Yeah.
um
Pain Pain is a monument in the game
he changed the game
forever.
forever. And then he lost it for a while. And then he came back after that Max Singer. He's been on the tear since.
Yeah, he's been killing it.
That's proof that anybody can be revived if done correctly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Um, I think just when I think of artistry, probably like Tori Kelly.
I love you. I
She's
love you.
incredible.
Love you for mentioning her because
Yeah.
she's, in my opinion, I said this on another podcast. She's the best vocalist I have ever heard in my entire life. Granted,
Mm.
there's a difference between somebody who can sing their butts off and sing loud and hit the high notes or whatever, and a vocalist. She is a vocalist. She will never get the same like records sold as a lot of these people, but when it comes to somebody who can sing from high to low, left to right, whatever, that is Tori Kelly, and y'all missing out. That's a bad white girl.
Yeah. Well, she got a drop of black in her, but
She does.
yeah, her dad.
Her dad is black.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Or he's like half.
I was gonna say because by the way she looks and her hair and stuff, I always knew she wasn't fully white, bro. It just never made sense to me. But you
Yeah.
could tell majority is definitely white.
Yeah.
So that's a bad woman, regardless.
But I think like when you talk about that, a lot of people look at one of my top favorites, Jasmine Sullivan, right? And so everybody wants to be this like super riffy, runny, like belty voice. When I think that there's enough room for everybody, and you just have to find your lane, right? So I might listen to Alex Isley because I'm having a bad day and I just need someone to like take me to another place. I might listen to Jazzy because I'm not scared of lions and tigers and bears, but I'm scared of this man right here. Like, I mean, so you just have to find your audience and be true to yourself. I mean, there's enough room and there's enough genres and everything for everybody. So be you, because not everybody needs to be running up and down the scale all the time.
Yeah, that's something that I realized with my own music. I was like,
Yeah.
I always wanted to be riffing and running and like being super loud because I always saw that in the church, and
Yeah.
that's what I was used to. But as you can see on my album and everything, for those of you who listened, it's a lot of chill vibe stuff because that fits me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am very upfront to an extent. Still need to work on some things. But like I'm very vibe. I beat around the bush at the same time. And my voice, it's calm and soothing. Like I like people have literally said, like, you have nice control. And I was like, oh, thank you. Like it was like I didn't like think of it as that in that way, but I've always been pretty good at holding a note or just being consistent in who I am once I figured out who I was. And I'm still figuring out who I am. But when I am who I am, I'm consistent in that. And for yourself, kind of just another thing real quick, like how would you describe like the way you do your music?
Honest. I think that whatever I feel, I kind of run with. So I'm not a boxy type of person. I mean, I'm an R&B fan forever, but yeah. But I mean, I started in the church too, so it's like you hear all that, you hear what you want to be.
Monkey
But
see,
I
monkey
think
do.
that yeah, yeah. The biggest people I can think of is probably like Jodeci. I mean, you can hear the church all in that, but then the subject matter is different. But um, you just really have to find out who you are first and then capitalize on that. So it's just maintaining that individuality. I think that I just try to be honest with whatever I'm feeling or whoever I am and just deliver it in a way that you can feel me, right? And I never want to, people will be like, oh, well, what does your sound mimic? Or who do you think you sound like? I sound like me. I never want you to really like, oh, she sounds just like Beyonce or she sounds just like, no, I sound like me. And I'm going to give you me 100% of the time. So,
Amen to that. And moving forward, just got to know what you are. I mean, cause me, I'm like R&B with vibey, but at the same time, I'm rap, and that is one thing I got to work on, having something more concrete to say it. But like, I just am. Like
I
everybody,
respect it.
there's no way to classify like Bruno Mars for real or really Anderson .Paak. Like, you can call Anderson .Paak alternative hip hop, but he's a little bit more than that. You can
Mm-hmm.
call Bruno Mars like pop and R&B, but I don't know. He's a little bit of rock at the same time. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot. But yeah, so we'll leave it at that. That is a wrap for this episode of the Versatility Podcast with Juelz, and you already know what to do with that. So you have any things you want to shout out? Of course, the radio show and your music or your social media and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, y'all can find me on WEAA 88.9 FM, the voice of the community, at 6 o'clock Monday through Friday for the Morgan News Hour, and you can find me on Mornings with Mikhail.
Eastern time.
Yes, Eastern Standard Time, and you can find me on Mornings with Mikhail at 10 to 12 on Mondays through Wednesdays. So I'll be there co-hosting, giving you all the vibes and everything that you need to get your workday started. And then you can also just hit me up and follow me on Instagram at Lena J Music, and it should be the same for TikTok. So tap in with your girl.
Oh, I haven't seen your TikTok. Yeah,
Oh, you can stay off of there.
oh, I'm gonna do check that out. I'm gonna check that out. But thank you again for joining the podcast, Lena. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Um, doing my best to make sure I get more women on the podcast, things of that nature.
Uh,
It wasn't a conscious thing that I did. It just kind of happened.
yeah.
But I have woman friends who can really talk that talk. And people who aren't really my friends who I could potentially get on here as well. But it's called the Versatility Podcast for a reason, and I mean that. So don't worry, we will be very versatile. Okay, simple as that. This is your host, Juelz, and this is the Lena J, the great. And yeah, that's a wrap on the podcast. Peace out. And any last words?
Um, Follow your dreams. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Stay on all 10.
Say 10 toes down, right?
Stay, no, period.
All right, peace.